This audio presentation of the I Am Self by Lilian DeWaters is brought to you by audioenlightenment.com. Copyright 2014. All rights reserved. Dear reader, are you hungry for the true bread of life? Then are you willing to give up the belief that you are separated in some way from the source of this heavenly manna, the real man who is in very truth yourself? Why remain longer in the belief that you sojourn in a far country, where the husks of lack, loss, and limitation are your daily fare? You are not of that world at all, for ye are children of the light. Really, you are not on a physical plane. You are not in a fleshly body. You have no human form. You are not subject to man-made laws or beliefs. Really, you are the eternal substance. The mind you have is that mind which is also in Jesus Christ. Your only body is the body of light. Your very being is the radiant I Am Self. But if you believe otherwise and feel that you are living in and depending upon a material world of time and place, life and death, good and evil, then to you it appears so, and your ever-existent good, though never actually separated from you, is nevertheless hidden from your sense and sight. For where your state of awareness is, there also will be your experience. In that mental journey which is the belief of being in a far country, back to the recognition that we have never been absent from the Father's house, many steps are to be taken. To think thoughts of health, wealth, and success, even under a false impression that this may be done with a personal human mind, has been one of these steps, without a doubt. But now the night mists are lifting and a new day dawns more clearly. Any method of thinking apart from the conscious knowledge of possessing now the Christ mind, to which all things are possible, cannot deliver the full peace of God, nor the true as well as lasting satisfaction to be found in the Master's statement, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Transcending and overarching the general belief that while one's mind is human, he must still think divinely with it, there comes a higher concept and a deeper insight, which is that we should give no heed to a belief that our mind is human, but on the contrary, we should take the position that our mind is divine, and thus naturally we think divinely with it. Such right vision and divine insight will surely bring us to the Horeb height, the mountain of God, where we behold and know Him as the I Am. As we rise to the position that there is but one God, and hence but one mind, we see there is not and never could truly be a so-called human mind or mentality. Moreover, it is not by spiritually educating a fictitious human mind that we come into the divine, but quite the contrary is true. Whoever shall lose his belief in mind other than the one God-mind shall find this very mind to be his own. It was a selfish belief, instead of a separate human mind, which prompted the Son, in Jesus' parable, to desire to leave his Father's house. And later the feeling of tender, yearning love in his heart brought back to him the awareness of his eternal unity or oneness with the Father, and hence with the original perfect man which he was. And dear reader, the same true awareness will likewise bring us back. All thoughts of genuine value to man in this world have come through to him through inspirational or intuitive knowing and feeling, which is the natural activity of the one perfect mind within us all. Spiritual illumination, inspiration come when we gladly surrender and shut out everything of self and of the world in order that we may hear God's voice. The heavenly promise is then renewed and fulfilled. I will instruct and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. The truth of being does not come to man in order to destroy any evil anywhere, but it comes to him that having caught a glimpse of it, he may hunger and thirst for his real self, the radiant I Am. Hear, O my people everywhere, the hidden inner man of the heart is none other than yourself, and moreover is your perfection right now. Indeed, this perfection is the well of water springing up into everlasting life. The absolute teaching is not an abstract philosophy, nor some impossible and impractical transcendentalism as often supposed, but delivers the accurate and intelligent understanding that one should give no heed to a self-imposed human mind, but instead identify himself with his real self, in which is vested all victorious power. To you who are ready to leave a far country, I come. No man cometh unto the Father but by me, his true self, the Christ of God. This real self, the perfect man, is your actual being, you as you really are, and is found as you turn in full surrender of a self-imposed mind and resultant thoughts to God. You are not a mortal man at all. Instead, you are ever one with light, love, and power. Hence, what will it profit you, though you gain the homage of all men and fulfill all your human desires, if you still have unrest and yearn for peace? So perceiving that I, of mine own self, can do nothing, the awakening process has begun. Where is the real man about whom so much has been written and taught? Where does he live? How is he related to you who are here now? He is not located off in space somewhere, nor in some other place or world, for verily, he is to be found exactly at that place where you are this very instant. Thinking of the real man as afar off or another plane of consciousness veils your vision to the supreme fact that he, the real man, is you, just where you are. For until man comes to himself, identified with his original perfect state as perpetually existing and intact now, how can he ever expect deliverance from a sleeping state called mortality and all that it includes? Therefore, cease ye from man, whose breath is in his nostrils, for wherein is he to be accounted of? Isaiah had evidently discovered this essential step to take, and so should we all. Nor did Jesus concern himself with the right and the wrong thoughts of mortals or men in dreams, but knowing himself to be the real man, and likewise they as well, he spoke from his understanding of reality, and all things were revealed to be as he commanded. Can anyone but yourself let go of your own false believing? Can anyone but yourself rise out of your self-deception? Jesus came to you and to me to show us a way out of such a dilemma of human existence. He penetrated its enigma by revealing the fact of our pre-existent Christ estate of mind and body. Thus he demonstrated that man no longer be victimized by selfish beliefs, but may rise and come forth as from death to life, from being lost to be found again. But to do this, he must come to himself. He must come to see who and what he really is. Can there be darkness when light is present, or can one sleep while he is awake? Obviously, then, it is no more possible for mental darkness or a dream of sin, sickness, and limitation to continue to reign in our senses and thoughts when the light of our divinity breaks in upon us and abides. You are never actually in a dream, no matter how long you may be thinking you are. The man you think you are in dream typifies the unreal mortal man, and the man awake typifies the pre-existent real state, the original perfect man. Whether you are awake or asleep, whether you are aware or unaware of it, you are ever the same man, namely God's spiritual perfect man. There is none other. The source of a problem is incorrectly placed or not traced back far enough when it is said to originate in false thinking. For where and in whom did such thinking begin? Sin and ignorance, which are generally supposed to cause sickness and limitation, are after all but dreams of the man who went to sleep, or who did not remain consciously aware of the truth of his being. And it is this very man who must now lay hold of this ever-existing real state, and so prove the nothingness of such sleep. Can you see this stupendous fact now for yourself? There could be no sin without a sinner, no belief without a believer, no sleep without a sleeper, and no claim without a claimant. That was an utter impossibility. So until man surrenders an illusion, knowing it to be such, how can he possibly be liberated from it? The way lies within yourself. You must become aware of your pre-existent self as the self you manifested before going into a false state. Then the light of your divinity will surely waken you to behold the futility of ever attempting to make over a dream and yet leave man asleep. This clear and fuller understanding of man will make new demands upon us all. The requirement facing each of us today is that we relinquish absolutely the foolish notion that our health, peace, or prosperity depend upon any personal thought-taking method, and instead understand thoroughly that our good abides in us, the true Christ self, and nowhere else. And we are this man consciously to the degree that we put off the old beliefs and put on a new understanding. We may temporarily dream and seem to lose awareness of ourselves as the original spiritual man of God's creating, but every dream has an end. So our common dream of separation from our true selfhood, in which we all participate, will come to a close for each of us as we see and acknowledge the one mind and no other to be ours here and now, our life to be the one eternal and immortal verity, and the real man to be none other than ourself right where we are, when so understood and expressed. And so may this prove to each of us to be the glorious truth and radiant light which Jesus promised would set us free. It is absolutely certain that God made everything out of his own perfection, and hence all was, and still is, good and perfect. In this light we see that we are and must be spiritual and perfect and more. We are spirit and perfection. But the Scripture reads, "That which is born of the Spirit is spirit." But to accept this fact intellectually or to truly see it inspirationally are two distinctly different viewpoints. To you who are ready to let go all personal methods in exchange for the way, lo, to you I come, and I am with you always. Now you can say, I know that I am. I know that my health, my harmony, my perfection, my happiness, and my abundance of every good are not located in my body or in my affairs, but only in my real self, myself, awake, the I am self. Here abide my unalterable, undefilable health and wholeness, my perfect spiritual senses and their distinct activities, my ever-conscious awareness of reality as all there is, and my complete experience of every good thing. Therefore, seeing this supernal fact, my desire should be and is to cease believing that my health is dependent in any way upon a physical form or even upon a spiritual form or body. Though my form may still appear to be physical, I shall know that nevertheless I am ever one with the I am that I am. And hence, as Jesus said at one time, so may I say at this time, suffer it to be so now. The appearance of form as physical need in no way deter, interrupt, or hinder my conscious awareness that any form or body expresses, but does not contain me, the I am, and therefore has no power to limit the wholeness which I am. My sight and hearing, my tasting, smelling, and feeling are also in and of my radiant self, the Christ-man. They are perfect in eternity, from everlasting to everlasting. Nothing in and of so-called physical plane and its man-made laws and theories can in any way interfere with, change, deform, distort, or limit my spiritual senses, for they are no part of the body of the dream world, but are wholly in the Christ self, the I am, eternally one with God. Now, dear reader, why do you need to longer feel the necessity of a method of taking thought whereby you may attempt to make changes and corrections called healing in your physical appearance? Is it not more intelligent to see and understand that your health is never in or of anybody, but belongs only to the spiritual perfect man whom you already are? The only necessary change or correction, therefore, should be made in your sense and feeling, in your apprehension and understanding. Then your pre-existent, original estate of perfection will become true and real to you here and now. Could that which is true ever change, or could reality ever be less than it was always? Why not transcend all ways and means of healing, changing, correcting, or destroying thoughts or things, and take the high vision of reality, the vision of being the I am self, the vision of seeing this self as a fact now? In proportion as you see and feel reality to be operative here and now, and insofar as you can, live in harmony with it, you change, as it were, from the state of sleep to that of being awake and aware. The self-revealing light shows us that we take conscious possession of the real divine mind when we see that it is only truly the real mind, and so discard our thought of any other. Thus we go on thinking and feeling rightly, just accepting the simple fact that it is the mind of Christ which is doing it all. In this way we learn more about how to multiply our good, since with the divine mind to which all things are possible, it is natural to have and enjoy the things which our heart desires. The here and now is all that we are consciously aware of, for how could we live in the future or in any place other than just where we are? This then is the time and place where we multiply and replenish our good, for the I am self is here and never absent at any time. When you make a declaration, affirmation, or statement of what you wish to do or what you desire to bring to pass, remember this paramount fact. Spiritual things must be spiritually conceived and brought forth. Therefore, when you think, do not feel that it is a human mind you are using with which to bring about some special good, But as the man of God, the I Am Self, know that you are thinking with the Christ mind, and you will inevitably bring forth what is rightfully yours. Then your word, spoken as by the divine mind, is your authority, that it shall not return to you void, but shall go forth and multiply your good. This was Jesus' authority, and likewise may be yours. You are consciously at one with the divine mind to the degree that you see, feel, and express it, and believe in no other, acting in the knowledge that this mind is all-knowing, and to it all things are revealed. State or declare your wish or need, and leave it with this mind to fulfill or bring to pass. Back of us, around, above, and within us is power, infinite, invincible, and almighty. I am the real man, at one with the Father, is the cry of the soul, singing its way into the full realization that all power in heaven and in earth is given unto me. You are of that which is ever above. Therefore your perception should be that Spirit includes your good and is ceaselessly blessing you. Spirit denotes the real substance, and the spiritual universe refers to creation as it really is, good, perfect, harmonious, incorruptible, and eternal. To repeat, the mind of Spirit should be considered the only mind, and you should relate yourself to it by your recognition of it as the real and true, and hence the very mind which you are using now with which to think your good and true thoughts. You should also see and acknowledge that this mind is power, is light, is wisdom, and is love which never faileth. Your vision determines your thinking. Your vision determines your feeling. Your vision determines your action. Your vision determines the multiplication of your good. Therefore, to experience the perfect creation which all must do, you should begin with the perfect vision. I am the Self. Not I am John or Mary Jones, but I am the Self, the Christ man, and you should say this as the living fact and not merely as a mechanical affirmation. The I am that I am infinitely individualizes itself as the Christ Self, or I Am Self, each indivisible identity being capable of the full realization of his inherent wisdom and intelligence, hence his ability to multiply and replenish his sense of perfect creation. With clear vision and open heart, we now proceed to learn more about how such multiplication is to take place. Working from the principle of the one mind, the one power, the one spirit life, take the position as the I Am Self, instead of I am John or Mary Jones, and with this vision, make your wish for that thing which you desire to have, and which your own mind informs you is right and good for you to bring to pass. Remember, you are thinking with the mind to which nothing is impossible, and with the love which never faileth. The I am that I am is the infinite powerhouse wherein the ever-existent God is generated and maintained. According to Genesis, God declared, "Let the earth bring forth grass. Let the waters bring forth the moving creatures. Let the earth bring forth the living creatures." And so it was. The command, you see, was definitely stated for the desired thing. Let there be this particular thing, and it was so. Many people are uncertain of their desires and so change them from day to day, whereas we should form definite ideas and clearly state them, for such is the prerogative of the divine mind. So always, when and wherever possible, determine and speak the definite idea. A wish, aim, or desire stated plainly will bring forth after his kind. For to every seed there is a corresponding body or manifested form, which is creation. One may ask, but how am I to know that what I wish is right and best for me to have in my present experience? The answer to this question is, you cannot really know unless you are aware that you are associating yourself only with the divine mind, and so from that standpoint of this mind, your desire must be right. This is why, first of all, you should identify yourself with that state called the Christ, or the I Am Self. For he is ever one with God, and to him all good is possible. Any desire of the true self, or of the one mind, is right and good, and capable of being brought forth in divisible manifestation, as illustrated in the first chapter of Genesis, as well as in Jesus' life and miracles. As you identify yourself with the divine mind and no other, naturally you will begin to desire only those things which are right and best for you to have in your present experience. Your desire for some certain thing will be a proof to you that it is for you, since both the desire as well as the experience proceed from the same mind. The I Am Self and the divine mind are one and inseparable. The question may then be asked, how can the divine mind or spirit create material things? Is not the thing created, or which is brought to pass, verily material? To the one mind or spirit, all creation is spiritual. Spirit could not create materiality, although limited visions call it so. Let us take, for instance, the lessons found in the New Testament where Jesus multiplied the loaves and fishes. Here the disciples brought to him the 2 loaves and few fishes as representing all the food available. This was their vision. But Jesus looked up into heaven and gave thanks. Jesus lifted his vision higher than human sense would allow. To human sense, that is, to those who were not yet aware that they had never departed from their Father's house, and so were ever associated with infinite plenty, the supply of food was limited, and to this sense also it was material. Jesus lifted his vision above the human sense. The very food which they thought material and limited he blessed. He placed a different interpretation upon it altogether, for the right discernment of spirit ever beholds the inexhaustible and illimitable supply of thoughts and things. He saw in the loaves and fishes his own concept of food, and to him it represented spiritual good which may be increased or multiplied wherever one may be, according to the desirable amount needed, even were the necessity present to feed 5,000 people. To those who partook of the food, no doubt this spiritual expression looked exactly the same as their familiar so-called material loaves, whereas Jesus saw it as a manifestation of spiritual ideas. To the materialist, all things are material. To the spiritually minded, all things are in and of spirit. For this reason, many find the increase of their good so difficult. They are attempting to multiply spiritually the very things which to them are material, instead of multiplying spiritual ideas spiritually. It may seem to take time, and one may need to exercise patience with himself in order to learn how to translate his sense of things from a material basis to a spiritual and real. You must be born again is still the explained process of regeneration as taught by the Master who knew all things. Ye must be born of water and of spirit, not born again of materiality, of time, place, and limitation. Remember, a far country is not a place, nor a plain but a state. We are therefore to leave one state, a state of falsely believing that we are material beings in a material world, and we are to take on the true state, the state of truly seeing that we are of the real man, ever at one with the real mind. This is to be born again, born of water, purity and receptivity, and born of spirit, truth and reality. We are not to leave one material viewpoint for another material viewpoint which may seem an advanced one, but we are to leave the state of seeing things materially to seeing things spiritually. And in order to do this, we are to raise our eyes or vision to heaven, reality. We are to get a new and true viewpoint. Here on earth is where you should be and can multiply your good. Here on earth, with spiritual awareness and right vision, is where you may bring to pass your heart's desire, for the spiritual ideas, wealth, abundance, and prosperity, stand back of all your desires for supply, and so may be brought into visible form to the degree that you see them as they are, acknowledge and accept them. You are therefore to leave the belief of being material or mortal for the true understanding of yourself as spiritual and immortal. Once establishing yourself in this right and true position or state, it will then also become easy and natural to establish your world and your affairs in their rightful places. To the spiritually minded, all is spirit and its spiritual accompaniment. Should you desire be for a strong, healthy, active body, such a desire is good and right. And if you are certain that it arises in you, the I Am Self, instead of John or Mary Jones, then your desire will be consummated. You should remember that the form and action of the real self must be like unto it in all ways. The I Am Self and the I Am Body are one, for life includes its specific perfect form. Thus, as you identify yourself with the I Am, you likewise identify your form or body with perfect action, health, and harmony. Instead of thinking of the body as a dependent material object, think of it as simultaneously existing with the perfect self which you are, and consequently good. Instead of seeing the body as limited by man-made laws, understand it to be eternal, changeless, complete and perfect in action, feeling and form, because ever existing with the one perfect life and love which you are, and which includes all. Some consider themselves material beings with material bodies. Others have raised their vision, believe that they are spiritual beings, but they still express material bodies. In the self-revealing light it is seen that in our real state we are each not only the perfect spiritual self, but also the perfect spiritual body. From first to last the body should be seen and thought of as included in the perfect self, and then it will easily be seen then that all needs changing or correcting is one point of view. Thus, as this is changed from belief to understanding, automatically one's world seemed to change also. And whereas before they seemed to be discord, now harmony is expressed. And whereas before there seemed to be lack and limitation, now plenty and abundance are expressed. In this way reality, or the perfect creation, comes to light. You should therefore ever keep the vision of reality before you. Reality here, there, everywhere, and never declare anything which you do not wish to see manifested. Reality includes you, the perfect I am or spiritual self, you, the spiritual and perfect body, and you, the spiritual and perfect universe. For nothing exists to you outside of yourself. At some point in everyone's progress, he will learn this real truth about himself, body and universe, and will leave all else to lay hold upon this reality, which is his Father's house, and also his own. Verily the self is the way to wholeness and harmony, to success and prosperity, for our self is truly the light of the world. We should therefore sing praises to this glorious self, our own I am, ever one with God the Father. Put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ, accept as your own the true Christ state, that perfect state of knowing, feeling, and being which originally you had with the Father before the dream world began. In no other way can you personify the real or Christ man. Do not attempt to bring the perfect state of being into the mortal dream, as though by doing so to repair the dream conditions, while you are left to do further dreaming, but step out of the dream, as it were, by taking possession of your true Christ state, into which no dream can possibly come. They which are the children of the flesh, or thinking as in a dream, are not the real state of the children of God. You cannot return to the Father except by first returning to the perfect real state, since this very state is the Christ, which is all-inclusive, eternally one with God. Paul writes very illuminating in the following verse, "The head of every man is Christ, and the head of Christ is God. Now ye are the body of Christ, and members in particular. Christ is all and in all." Thus we cannot return to the Father except be returning to the Christ, the position of perfect being, which is eternally one with God, even as the rays of light are one with the sun. The rays collectively represent the Christ, the self-revealing light, of which each one of us is a member in particular. Here we see why Peter declared so inspirationally to Jesus, "Thou art the Christ," because he saw that man operated in the Christ state is the Christ man. In Christ shall all be made alive. Verily, as we operate in this, our real state of knowing and expressing, we shall all be alive to our perfection as changeless and eternal, free from any mortal dream. In him, the Christ state, dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. Ye are, now as in the beginning, complete in him, and so need only to take conscious possession of this eternal truth, and in so far as you can, live and act therein, to be set free from the mortal dream. Therefore, if any man be in the Christ state, he is a new creature, verily the Christ man, the I am Son. Old things of the dreams are passed away. Behold, all things become new, as they were originally. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. The only way to the God consciousness is through the Christ state, for without me, the true state of knowing, feeling, and expressing, you can do nothing, for only because you are not fully conscious of your real state, nor fully operating in it, does the dream of bondage and limitation persist. This is the very truth which we should bring to man who is called immortal. When he comes to us for help, we are to say to him, "You are not of this world. You are not of perishable flesh and blood. You are not both good and evil. You are not intended to experience death, but only life. You are God's perfect man, exactly where you stand. You need only to feel this and live in harmony with it, and you will begin experiencing it." Truly, until one comes to see himself as he is, he will never leave a far country of dreams and fables. When you come to yourself, you see who you are, and seeing this, you naturally see what body you have, what universe you live in, what power you make use of, what mind you utilize, and what life you are living, feeling, and experiencing. With each such transformation of sense and view, there also appears a corresponding transfiguration of body and affairs. Does the Christ self exist because of what you personally think or feel? Does the real man, or man in his real state, know about spirit and flesh, good and bad, or about time and place, sin, sickness, and death? What is it that the I Am knows? It knows I am, and beside me there is none else. It knows I am in the Father, and the Father in me. Thus I am ever one with the I Am that I am. Say it over and over again. Sing it softly to yourself. I am that I am, lovingly, earnestly, expectantly. Do not attempt to define what it means nor analyze your feeling, but just say it, and it will begin to reveal itself to you. For the I Am that I am reveals itself to me, to you, to all who say, I will arise and go unto myself in my true state of being, where nothing can oppose me, nothing. The I Am does not depend upon thoughts or feeling, time or place, conditions called sin and goodness, life and death, for its existence. The I Am that I am says, I am all power, I am all perfection. Do not confine me to this or that idea of thought, word, or saying. Do not limit me to churches or ministers, to man or woman, to books or sentences. I am that I am, the unconditioned, the eternal one. There is but the one I am that I am. There is not one big I and millions of smaller I's. One life is all there is, even as one air is all the air there is. This one I am that I am includes granite heights, crystals, trees, flowers, birds, animals, man, and all created things. Surrender therefore the ifs, buts, whys, and wherefores for this absolute state of yourself, your radiant I am, ever the self-revealing light. The I Am does not concern itself with your sins or limitation, with your past or future, does not concern itself with your body of affairs, with your father or mother, your husband or wife, with your station in life, your color, age, nor education. The I Am concerns itself only with you. Ever it declares, there is no cause or effect beside me. I see no ignorance or darkness, no evil anywhere, for to me there is nothing but myself. I am the all in all. I am found when all else fails, when all other means are of no available, and when no thinking can find the way out. Lo, your extremity is my opportunity to prove to you myself to be your all in all. I am present always, the never-failing, self-existent one. If you make your bed in hell, lo, I am there. If you take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, ever there I am. For I am with you wherever you are. I am yourself. I am the self which apparently you have wandered away from, but only as in a dream which you can readily see, if you will, has no substance at all. No dream can ever separate us, for I am with you wherever you are. I am with you in your sorrow, in your failure, in your defeat. I am with you in your joy, in your pleasure, in your success. What is darkness to you shineth as the light to me. I am the self to whom you now lovingly turn. None of your delusions affect me. Ever I am at your side, waiting only your awareness of me, your recognition and realization of me as your all in all, to set you free from any false belief and separation. When you leave all for me, then shall you find me. When you cry out yearningly from your heart to me, then shall you hear me, my voice answering you, I am your hope of glory. I am your bright and morning star. I am the Lord your God. I am you, yourself. Acknowledge me in all your ways. Acknowledge yourself in its true position, and thus enjoy its supreme ability and power in all your undertakings. See your radiant self as verily the real man about whom so much has been written for lo these many years. See this self, yourself, as the Christ self, all victorious, pure, complete, supreme, triumphant in all things and in all ways. as you have loved and praised, believed in, and worshipped Jesus the Christ as the perfect and adorable one, even so must you now think of and consider yourself. For, dear reader, the self of Jesus and the self of you and of me is not separate or different, but is in very truth the same, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us. If a man walk in the night, or on illumination, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. John 11:10. Our righteousness shall be brought forth as the light if only we will be receptive to progressive ideas, to new revelations, and to the ever-revealing light of the self. Many who read these lines know that they are not advancing as they should, nor as they once did. Yet they feel that they are striving harder than ever before, that they read and study the books of truth faithfully, that they are sincere in their declaration and prayers. Still they do not progress in demonstration or understand why this is so. Arise and come forth ever calls the self. As new leaves in spring push off the old ones from the tree, so the new and more advanced ideas of truth, which we apprehend and accept, push away outgrown beliefs and theories. Most frequently at first we obtain the light through teachers and books, but this same spiritual illumination may also come to us directly from God, the I am that I am, without the channel of any other communication whatsoever. It often happens that after many years of study, one may seem to come to a standstill, to a place where he makes no further progress. It is apparent that he needs fuller light, though perhaps unwilling to make this acknowledgement even to himself. Then again, fuller light may have been presented to him, which he refused to listen to or accept. Of course, this refusal to progress must retard one's return to self, bind him to old positions outgrown, and close the door to the divine truth, which should always be kept wide open. As the sun shines on us all alike, so also revelation of the truth of our being may come to us all, to anyone who will receive it. Working with prescribed thoughts as such, day after day, struggling with the repetition of sentences, no matter how true, keeps one in a far country, where no man gave unto him. Meanwhile, the realization is dawning that it is for all to come of themselves to the perfect, radiant self. One must arise, welcome, and follow the beckoning light, and so come to the perfect state where the self really lives. In this way he finds the all good and all problems vanish. Many are now in the process of such awakening. Our waking, or coming into the real state, is not instantaneous as in our waking from a night's sleep, for indeed it seems to require much time with all of us. Yet how grateful we should be that we are beholding the way, and ever we are gaining a better understanding of Jesus' life and teaching, that we have received so much help from others who have blazed the trail before us, and that this self-revealing light ever continues to shine upon us to reveal and make itself more fully known to us. In these latter days it is to be expected that more abundant light will come swiftly and will break suddenly, perhaps in full radiance upon the quickened senses, so that a complete awakening will take place. But until this event comes, we should do all we possibly can in the way of preparation for the way, the light, and the resurrection, by acknowledging our real self to be present with us right here on the so-called physical plane, for such, after all, is the true awareness. Right here, where we are expressing a so-called physical body, and right here, where we have believed that we were using a so-called human mind, is the time and place where we are to see and claim the perfect Christ self, and no other, as the one self of each and all of us. This is the truth which will surely set us free from any opposite belief. This one self is the self of us all, is the Son of God, the real man, and is the one altogether lovely. Individuality is infinite in expression, as you and I and every other man, woman, and child. We each have a distinct individuality which expresses and makes manifest the one Christ self. We read in the Bible that in the beginning, God created man in his own image. He did not have diversified ideas about man, but completely perfect ideas of all that man is and includes. Each of us, then, whom God created, must be the personification of the perfect and original man, which is the Christ man. Jesus exemplified this creation perfectly. As there is but one idea of mathematics, or as mathematics is one and not two, so Christ is one, and this one is called the perfect self or the real man. and as we may each have and use all there is of mathematics, and still all is left for everyone else. Likewise, one may express, use, and manifest the one Christ-man, and still everyone else may do the same. When this illustration is clearly seen and understood, then you will apprehend and realize the oneness of the Christ-man and also his infinity. You will always have your distinct individuality. You will never merge, as it were, into another individual, but will express and experience the original spiritual man. When we are commanded to put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ, this means that we are to put on the Christ state, for this is the state which is Lord of all. As we put on the Christ state or function in this true state of knowing, feeling, and expressing, we are the Christ man and no other. We can put on the new man only by operating in our real and true position, for then automatically we become the real man of God's creating. For it pleased the Father that in him, the real Christ-man, should all fullness dwell. Jesus perfectly expressed man in God's likeness, for we read in John's Gospel, "And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth." Thus Jesus was and still is the Christ. There are not many Christs any more than there are many mathematics. The word Christ means primarily the perfect state of spiritual being. The Christ is the state of knowing and being perfection. When man expresses this Christ state, then he is called the Christ man. This Christ, or perfect state of being, exists potentially in every one of us. It exists the same as one's waking state exists in him even while he is asleep, nor could he ever be separated from it. In the preceding booklet, The Self-Revealing Light, it is clearly shown and explained how man's waking state exists in him even when asleep, how as he loses sleep by waking, he then consciously operates in that state. Thus, as we lose a dream state by putting on a Christ state or consciously operating in it, we experience reality. Today, like the pendulum of a clock, we find ourselves swinging, as it were, between the position of the wakeful immortal and the self-imposed position of the sleeping mortal. And as St. Paul said, it is high time that we awake out of such sleep. Indeed, the time is definitely here when we must see just what this sleep means and includes. For it was this very sleep which originally dimmed our vision of perfect God and perfect man, and brought about all that we are unhappy experiencing today. When man functions in his natural state, as God created him to do, he is then an immortal, consciously aware of his true state of being in the kingdom of heaven. Should he choose not to remain in this state, however, as clearly illustrated by the rich man's son, he enters what the Bible calls a mental sleep, where he is not fully aware of himself as he really is. Thus we see that though the son may choose which state he will serve, still the true state is always present and ever one with the Father. And the other state but denotes a mental lapse from the true and real. So constitutes the unreal state, where unhappy and discordant conditions spring up. When light is withdrawn from a room, the result is called darkness. And in precisely the same way, when we withdraw ourselves from the true state of being by becoming mentally asleep to the truth that we are ever the perfect man of God's creating, and so ever completely harmonious and lacking nothing, the result is then called mortality. Thus it is imperative that we waken and remain awake to enjoy the peace and happiness of that true state where, actually, we are the light of the world. How shall we place ourselves in this true state, as it were, so as to be the real man here and now? Just our fervent and earnest desire to do this, more than to do anything else in the world, will immediately and effectively help to bring this about. When the heart really and truly desires above all else to live the true life of peace, loving kindness and goodness, and so is willing to give up, so far as it is able, any contrary seeing, thinking, and feeling, one instantly finds himself in that true state of being, even as upon opening his eyes from slumber, he immediately enters his daytime experience. So first of all, lovingly desire to live more fully in your true Christ state, that original and ever-existing state of perfect man, and long with all your heart to leave a selfish, self-indulgent state of seeing, thinking, and believing, in which we have all so long lingered. Let us come to the Father now and humbly say, Father, forgive me, for I knew not what I was doing. Truly, such yearning, heart's desire to please God, as well as an utter willingness to abandon the false hope of mental sleep, permits the light to stream in. Present in and back of every created thing is the real life, the real mind, and the real being, of which things are only the symbols. Perfection is the original essence and spiritual nature of all it is. Back of a world of change, of impermanence, rests the eternal, which is the unchangeable. Ever underlying the finite is the infinite. Underlying our dream is the waking state of spiritual consciousness. Underlying all falsity is the truth. Underlying death is life eternal. What we call reality is God, existing without beginning or end, underlying all forms and all things, and the primal cause of them. Reality exists of and by itself. It depends upon nothing, for it is the I am that I am. It abides invariable and constant in all things. It precedes and survives all changing forms, states, and conditions. This reality for which everyone searches day after day, although he may know it not, is in and of nothing man invented. This is why so often he misses the way, because he is looking where reality can never be found. He feels a mighty famine and foolishly continues looking for the substance of the all-good amidst the husk of materiality, hereby entangling himself more and more in the dream of a material existence. Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth, for I am God, and there is none else. Isaiah 45:22. Such is that innermost call of love, which each of us must, sooner or later, heed and obey. Dear reader, begin now to answer to this greater of all the demands made upon us, which is to love. Inspirational and intuitive thinking and feeling are not physical emotions, nor the properties of a makeshift mentality, but they denote the conscious possession of that mind which was in Christ Jesus. Be assured of this from the revelation vouchsafed to you from on high. Verily, we must find God to be love in the heart of man. The Bible uses this word heart as symbolical of the innermost and vital part of man, even as Jesus said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." So counteract or offset the hold which past or present mistakes may have had upon you by letting love permeate your whole being, and it will generate automatically that right feeling which is called forgiveness. For this, Jesus taught, must precede light and illumination. Love and forgive your enemies by looking through their mistakes to catch a glimpse of the radiant self standing in their midst, untouched by any mortal dream appearance. From this place, which is holy ground, blotting out memory that mortal-appearing men or women who has treated you wrongly or unkindly, perceive that this is not sinning appearance which you are bidden by Spirit to love. No, indeed, it is the Christ-man whom you should recognize, and to whose shining face you should smile, and whose hand you should clasp in understanding love. Do this, beloved, that you may be the obedient Son of the Father, and upon you will dawn the light which is brighter than the sun. And if your limbs are fettered, you will presently find them supple and usable again, and if restrictions have been placed upon your affairs, they will be released. And you will walk in freedom, for where your loving feeling is, there shall your complete and happy experience be also. The higher illumination and understanding reveals the fact that we are really not living in a material plane, which would involve the necessity of destroying, either physically or mentally, our ever-increasing and multiplying problems, sorrows, and limitations. What is termed a plane is really a certain state of awareness instead of a place. This is what makes our freedom possible, because we need not move from one place to another, but merely from one point of awareness to another higher and more enlightening one, in order to become a new creature and exclaim, "Behold, all things are made new." Thoughts which spring from love inspire and elevate our aims and efforts and draw us into the realization of our true estate. We may have believed that truth or mind is one entity and love is another, but the self-revealing light shows us that wisdom and love are but two aspects of the same self. Love is perfected in wisdom, and wisdom is revealed in love. So to seek for wisdom or truth, as though it were separate from love, is to be unaware of one of the basic facts of being. Be still, oh so still, endeavor to feel warm, pulsating love for God, for self, for all. Let tenderness, forgiveness, unselfish goodness flood and fill you completely with their divine effulgence. Then light and peace will envelop you, and you will sing songs of joy and gladness. Inspirational thoughts, too, will come to you effortlessly, and love will lift you above the sense of sleep and of a twilight into that realm where it is always day, and where it is a joy just to live and to be. Thus shall you understand that glorious saying, He that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. For you know that it is so. We know that while standing in the light we could not be in darkness, just so we know that knowing and feeling our place in the true light, we cannot believe in or be conscious of the untruth or unreality. And even though we may still appear to be in human form, now we know where we came from and who we are. Even while we live apparently in a so-called physical world, we may claim and make good our claim that we are the I Am Self living in the kingdom of heaven. This is a spiritual vision which must always utilize in order to see things correctly. When we rightly claim the actions, functions, and organs of our body to be perfect now, which is the vision in the self-revealing light, we do not focus attention on a physical appearance, as though attempting to spiritualize what is called matter, nor try to change any form from sickness to health or from disease to harmony, nor do we hold any false picture form of body and thought while the true vision is ours. Right where I am apparently expressing a discordant or limited condition of any kind, right here is where I am to realize and declare the very truth of myself as not material but spiritual, not matter but spirit, since God, spirit, is all in all. I am not dreaming now, but I am awake in the light, and so I am partaking of reality and perfection, truly and joyously. I love the fact of my continuous and uninterrupted harmony which is eternally mine since I ever exist in the Christ who is one with God. I know that my remedy for any and all falsehood is the truth that discord of any nature is unreal, since not of God, and that God and his perfection is present with me and with me always. Inasmuch as troubles of all kinds are wholly mental and never as it seems physical, then by seeing, knowing, and feeling love, perfection, harmony to be God, who is all in all, and knowing that the Christ of God is right within me, having power over all victorious, I know the mental dream will leave, since no darkness can abide in the light. I am convinced that it is spiritually required for me that insofar as I am able, I must steadfastly and continuously endeavor to live my daily life and contact with people and things consistent with my spiritual idea and real feelings, for such consistent activity is the means to bring about my awakening. I now clearly understand and accept as true the words written in 1875 by a great spiritual teacher, "The body of spirit is spiritual and not material." We shall be found love, life, and truth because we understand them. Thus more and more I am depending upon the reality which I am for my health, wealth, and happiness, and less upon man and his mistaken laws in a far country. I know that Christ is the end of the law, of discord and all dreams of separation from perfection. Thus, as I function in this Christ, which state is always within me, that is, as I remain worshiping, loving, and living in the Christ state of light and understanding, I find that I am in the kingdom. I am at peace. I am filled with the glory of harmony and reality. Verily, I am hid with Christ in God, where no evil shall come nigh me. And the Spirit and the bride say, Come. And let him that heareth say, Come, and him that is athirst come. And whosoever will, let him take of the water of life freely. In the absolute teaching we deal with the truth which is reality without beginning or end. We deal with the true mind, the true thoughts, the true body, the true universe, and the true Christ self, always. Instead of trying to educate a mind to become divine and immortal, which paradoxically we had considered human and mortal, we can see now the folly of such a notion. From a higher point of vision, all things appear different. Attempting to renovate or remodel our thinking so as to change a human mind into the mind of Christ is not the teaching of the I Am Light. Furthermore, holding in belief that the body is physical by nature, and still attempting to renew and remedy it by means of spiritual thinking is not a true application of the Absolute. The only mind that we should deal with is the one mind back of every true and perfect idea, and the only body we should consider is the body which expresses naturally these ideas of wholeness. Then automatically we give up the notion of healing a human mind or bringing the harmony of the I Am into a human body. We see the futility of it. We see as never before the great necessity to know and feel that there is but the one mind, the one body, and the one life expression, and that there is none else. When apprehending reality, one will also learn to understand the nature of unreality. We will see with the vision of spirit. He will know with the intelligence of mind. He will feel with the heart of love, and he will be satisfied that he is waking in his likeness. This may be one of the reasons why many complain of failure or inability to demonstrate the truth in body and affairs. They are attempting to apply the truth of being directly to sick bodies and sick affairs, whereas the truth can apply it only to vision, thought, sense, and feeling. Attempting to heal physical bodies or spiritualize human mentalities metaphysically or by right thinking overlooks the paramount fact that all discord, limitation, and imperfection are totally unreal, because untrue. The eternal, real, and true conditions already exist in the one Christ state, to be seen, accepted, and utilized wherever vision is clarified sufficiently to thus behold the omnipresent Christ-man. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. As we rise to welcome the self-revealing light and behold the I Am Self, the entangling dream shadow effortlessly slip from us, with winged feet we speed toward our goal, that Horeb height where the I Am that I Am stands revealed, and rapturously we exclaim with the apostle, Beloved, now are we the sons of God. Now are we the Son Self, the radiant I Am. This audio presentation of the I Am Self by Lilian DeWaters has been brought to you by AudioEnlightenment.com. Copyright 2014, all rights reserved.